Alright, so we've double checked our tags. You know, the P tags are wrapped around everything. All the HTML entity name codes have been inserted properly. All the hyperlinks are in properly. What we have to do now is we're going to take our entire text and we're going to put it into an XHTML standard that you can download on my website at paulsalvet.com. And right now, it's not really it looks like XHTML, but it's not really because it doesn't have the necessary coding at the top. So what we can do is we just Control A, Control C, and then we go to this standard I have here. This is what an actual XHTML file looks like. It's got all this weird nerd stuff up here. Don't worry too much about that. And then it's got like your title here. I'm going to type in my title, America Goes On. Okay, and then it's got the cascading style sheet, or the CSS. And what this does, this tells like your text how it's going to look and behave for the web browser and the e-reader. This is very important to know how all this stuff works in here. And if you don't know how it works in here, you should check out like a tutorial online. I've got one on my website that I made. Please, it's very important to alter these properties to make sure your ebook is going to look great. So right in here, in between, you can see the body and the closing body tag. So we're going to insert just everything with Control V. Okay. So now what we have here, we actually have a valid XHTML file. So the first thing we want to do, we want to open our web browser and check it out. So we've kind of got a valid XHTML file, and what you can do is you want to make sure you save it first as a .html file, and that way your web browser will recognize it as an HTML file. So we'll hit save there, and then you go to like your web browser like this. I like to use Firefox, and then you just kind of open it up here. You click on the file like that, and it should pull up, and you can kind of see here. If I pull it out, see how the text is reflowable? That's kind of what makes like an e-reader better than like word processing software, because a word processor makes it fixed format, but like a kind of like a web browser and e-reader, you can kind of adjust it like this. It's kind of neat. Now you want to go through and make sure nothing looks like totally screwy. Like make sure this is good. Like the italics took. You want to make sure that the special characters are showing up, like the curled quotes here for the apostrophes. And we haven't gotten to actually working with like styling the actual text, but what we can do is we have these like predefined styles. So what we want to do is go through our text and just make sure and just apply styles inside our paragraph tags. And like for here, America Goes On. Like I have a style defined in my CSS style sheet called title. And if I go up here, you can look at it. Title. So, it's got no text indent. It's got a 2.0 EM font size. That means it's twice as big as the normal font size. It's bold. It's got a margin on the top and bottom, and it's centered. And there's a page break before it. So what I can do is, I applied the class equals title, and if I hit F5 on my browser, you can see it like kind of applies this. And we basically want to go through, our entire document and kind of make sure everything looks nice. Now, for the title copyright page, I have a class called a front, and what that does is basically just like centers kind of the text. So I'm going to apply that style that I defined in my CSS to the paragraphs that I want. Now, for chapters, I've got another style called just chapter. So let's save this and take a look at how it looks after I've applied it. Alright, so I've got like a margin here, and I've got a margin in between my front matter and everything. Now, there's actually a page break here that the e-reader will recognize. However, web browsers don't recognize it, but an e-reader will, and you'll see that in the next video. So this is looking okay. The Joshua tree, that's actually part of the chapter one. So if you want to keep something in the same um, paragraph but send it to the line below, what you can do is you can add a line break tag, which is just BR space slash like that, and we'll save that there. Let's have a look at how that looks. See how that looks? It kind of goes right below it. It's kind of nice. So we've got an okay amount of space here. Maybe it's like too much, or if you want, you can always change like the bottom margin on your chapter. Maybe 1.5 is too aggressive. You could just do like 1.0 or something like that. Now my base P style, it gives me like what's called a first line indent. But like I go to my like back matter, and like down here, this is like nonfiction. It's like talking about me. That's obviously nonfiction. So like the stuff in here, I want to have a block indent instead of a first line indent. So I've got another style here. I just call it notes. It's like basically a block indent. So we can go to like kind of the bottom and just say P class equals notes, and that'll give me a kind of a. Let's see how that looks. See, it kind of gives me a first line indent, or excuse me, a block indent, and it gives me a space in between here and here. And so basically, you just kind of whatever you want the alternative styles, you just got to kind of add it into each of the P tags. Now, this is another heading, so I want like I call it headline, and just kind of you keep just kind of tweaking and peeking here and making sure everything looks like that looks pretty good. And you want to make sure also, like when you pull your web browser out like this, like the text reflows, it doesn't get like locked in inside the browser somehow, because that just really pisses off readers when like the reflowable text gets all screwed up, because people on e-readers use different font sizes, different dimensions on e-readers, so it's important that the text reflows. So it's really important to spend a lot of time on this step, because this is exactly, pretty much exactly how it's going to look inside the e-reader when the reader buys it and pulls it up, with the exception of the page breaks. But you're going to kind of look here. You want to make sure all your headings are in the right place. You didn't miss any headings. You want to make sure you have the right like indentation. Like here, I've got block type indents, but in my story, it's obviously a first line indent. So you really want to just spend some time going through this and making sure everything is 100%. Now what we're going to do, we're going to kind of add on some of the bells and whistles. Like for instance, I want to add like maybe like a couple images right below about the author. And to add an image, I have a special style defined as it's called centered image, and what it does is it basically aligns the image to the center. Now to add an image, it's imjcrc equals, and you have to type the exact name of the file name. So I'm going to pull up I've got it in the same directory as my my HTML file, and this is the file name. And you want to make sure even the case just is perfectly the same as what you're going to type inside your XHTML. So there we go. All right, and you also don't want to forget like an alt description. What that is just like in case the image can't be loaded on the person's device, it'll pull up this text description. But it's important because your EPUB validation will fail if you don't have this alt description. And then don't forget the little slash there to get the proper XHTML coding. So let's take a look and let's see how that looks. Let's see here. So hit F5. Alright, that showed up pretty well. One thing, you want to make sure you keep your images small. If anything over, I think it's 127 kilobytes in Kindle, it'll automatically get recompressed. And readers, they don't have, some of their e-reading devices don't have a lot of capacity, so they don't want to be getting 10 meg friggin' ebooks that take up all the space on their e-reader. So you want to make sure you compress your images. I usually use Photoscape. It's free. So this image right here, it's only like 10 kilobytes, so it's pretty small. It's not going to take up that much space. So I'm looking at my web browser, and it looks like everything's pretty much the way I want it. It's good to go. Now what we need to do, we need to start going through and adding internal hyperlinks and anchors within our document. Now you can add like a table of contents at the end, but for fiction, it's kind of not not recommended by some people. Some people like it, some people don't. But you always need like it's called an NCX table of contents. And if we use Calibre, it's going to automatically convert. It's going to generate that table of contents for us. And the way to do that, what I like to do, this is my own method that I use. I add div tags in front of everything I want the table of contents to link to. So you can call it whatever you want. Div ID equals T1, and I'm adding anchors here. So what that is that identifies whatever's wrapped inside this div tag. It identifies it as an anchor. And when Calibre goes through and automatically generates the table of contents, it's going to come and it's going to look for the text here, and it's going to label that in the NCX table of contents. So I'm going to want to do that for pretty much every chapter. And you can call the ID whatever you want. It doesn't show up inside the e-reader. So you want to go through, and wherever you want to link to your NCX table of contents, you're going to want to link there.